Hello and welcome to the RWBY podcast. I am not feeling good today. I am mediocrity 4.
This week on RWBY Volume 6, celestial beings destroy a planet and a moon. Ozma contracts ligma and dies. Salem attempts to commit Sudoku.
Wait, what is Ligma?
Ligma.
I think you mean seppuku.
No, Sudoku.
No, Sudoku.
I know. I know it's supposed to be seppuku.
That's the joke.
I know it's
the joke.
supposed to be seppuku, but I specifically said
Oh, it
Sudoku.
hurts to laugh.
And ligma's for ligma balls.
Oh.
Does it smell like updog?
No.
All right, we've derailed
No.
this intro enough.
No.
Sorry. And I am Robert, and I am also actually not feeling so well. I apologize if my voice sounds scratchy.
Eh.
And I'm
And
recording. Sorry.
And Ozpin, I know you're trying to divorce Salem, but you're not supposed to take the kids with you, literally. I'm Sakukar.
And
No guns this time, huh?
I am recording this time,
I have to save some, okay?
so we will see what
Yeah.
happens. It may turn out well,
Yeah.
it may not. Who knows?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's always weird doing it for the first time.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, it is.
That's
I
awkward.
would say-
No.
Is it in yet? I don't know.
There it is.
No.
So
can we just first before we get started appreciate the fact that this Ozpin X Salem is now officially canon,
yes.
and by
That's true,
extension, so is Oscar X Salem.
Ooh.
Uh,
Hey kid, what a SS?
That's just some tentacle.
yeah, we now have
Joy-Con.
our first officially canon ship in the series. Well, okay, that's not true. It's not the
I
only.
mean, we've
canon
had like
ship,
other
but-
relationships on that level, like Raven and Ty and something.
That's true. Raven and Ty, Summer Rose
Crow
and Ty.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's
Everyone else.
Wait, what?
Crow and Ty, everyone else in Ty. Within like a
You're
30-mile
right.
diameter.
Yeah. Literally
Adam and
everyone in
Blake,
Ty-
although they haven't like really pulled the trigger on that one.
Yeah.
We might get it this volume. Who knows?
Anyway, so high power with 1,000-foot view.
A lot of shit happens this episode.
It does. This is. I think this is the longest episode yet. Full on runtime wise, the volume 3 finale is still a little bit longer, but so much of that was credits. I would have to like go back to the volume 3 finale and actually like watch the credit, like subtract the credit time from the episode to see like, because I'm pretty sure this episode turns out to be longer. Like cut out the intro, the credits, and all the extra stuff. I think this is the longest episode we've ever had.
So basically, we weren't just knowledge bombed, we were like saturation carpet bombed. So I'm just gonna be real brief with this. Basically, this is just a glorified World of Remnant episode. It's probably the best World of Remnant episode they've ever done. Basically, we see how everything happened. Basically, Salem was trapped in a tower. Ozpin rescues her, because I'm not going to call him Ozma or whatever, because I'm just going to get all those names confused.
Yeah.
She gets rescued. Ozpin dies of ligma. Salem's really sad about that, so she goes and tries to bargain with the gods, which, if we know anything about Greek tragedies, you should never try to bargain with the gods. It's always a bad idea.
Yeah. Speaking of Greek tragedies, I wonder if like the reason Salem was kept in that tower is because like there was some sort of prophecy about her or something. I don't know. That might be interesting, but
I would be okay with that.
I don't think we're ever going to.
yeah, we're probably not ever gonna
that
find out
part.
why she was kept in the tower. But that was just a thought.
Well, we know she was kept in the tower by her cruel father, and who looked like a lot like some red-eyed Salem, Sauron.
But
Yeah.
Salem goes to the God of Light. God of Light's like, watch this, as he bans her from his private Discord server. She then slinks off to another Discord server with just one person in it, who is the God of Darkness, and then gets the God of Darkness to resurrect Ozpin. And then there's a funny game of where Ozpin is being put together and disintegrated on screen several times.
Oh my gosh. It's like, you guys just make up your minds.
It was
And
terrible.
then
It's like a really bad game of Call of Duty.
yeah,
Where you're just getting spawn killed.
Just get spawn camped. Oh no.
Oh jeez.
I know that.
then
feeling.
after that, the God of Light's like, whoa, hold up a second here. It's like she came to me asking to be brought back to life, and then the God of Darkness was like, uh-oh, you fucked up. And
My
so
bad.
basically burninates Ozma again, and then the God of Light curses Salem with immortality. Salem then goes around gathering a band of armies to fight all the gods. And then they show up, they fight the two gods, they cast magic at the God of Darkness, or the celestial being, whatever. And
No, we were at the fight.
yeah, fight.
Yeah.
That wasn't a fight.
And so
This is cute.
takes all the magic and then Control Alt deletes humanity, and then the God of Light announces Humanity 2. I will say this, I like how the moon was blown up by the God of Darkness just flying through it. I thought that was hilarious. Interesting thought too is this is now my headcanon, is that dust is the leftover remnants of all the magic people and also what fell from the moon.
Yep.
Sure.
Fossilized bits.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool. I would like that. I would like if dust
it's
is
a
just
literal
like the
remnant
literal
of-
dust
Yeah,
of people that got wiped out.
Dust is just fossil fuel of yourselves.
Well, that's what dust is in this universe. It's just our fossil fuel stand-in. Then basically, we get that one shitpost image of the guy standing in the neighborhood on the sidewalk with his hands in front of his face of the God of Light. Basically telling Ozpin, it's like, well, you know, it's like you could try again, and here's some relics to do so. Which one was a scepter, one was a sword, one was a crown, and then one was a lamp.
Yeah. So I look. Yeah. So like the.
Yeah,
relic of creation-
he names
I-
them in those scenes too. Creation is the spear, destruction is the sword, choice is the crown.
I
and
almost wonder if like the
knowledge
one of
is
creation is going to turn out to be like a paintbrush, or like a really big paintbrush or something like that, and not actually a spear. But
like that Mickey Mouse game that came out on the Wii a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I
like that,
forgot about that game.
yeah.
Then
And
after
one of
that,
choice was a crown, but yeah.
Humanity 2.0 finally gets done downloading and patching itself.
With a few
And
bugs.
With
And I'm assuming that took a
bugs.
lot, and I'm assuming that took more time than what we initially than like what
Did-
it looks like and stuff like that. Like it took a couple thousand, a few.
It took like
thousand
millennia.
years or something.
I mean,
more-
depending on how you go by, you know, the Earth's only a few thousand years old, depending on where you're at. But, you know, we're not going to get into that argument. So, basically,
Not in this fantasy land.
not in this
anyway.
fantasy land. So, basically, after this point, Ozpin spawns in on a random farmer dude, kills a Grim, starts walking around. Everything looks like shit. No one has magic. Everyone's dust is now the stand-in for magic.
Faunus are a thing now,
Faunus are a thing,
and apparently weren't a thing before, so that's interesting. Well, I
and
guess that's a thing.
the Faunus were put in cages because of my racism and all that good stuff. Ozpin hears about a lady in the woods who's a witch, and oh, go figure, it's Salem. They meet up
felt
together.
Like that was I felt like that was a little like, I don't know, anticlimactic. Like, oh hey, there's a witch. I'm sure it's Salem, and oh yeah, it really is Salem. It's kind of like, really?
It's a little too convenient, but I just like I'm okay with it because it's
yeah.
expedient.
That's true.
Like, I'll take this convenient over the just the cave entrance opens up. Thank you.
Yeah,
So-
that's true.
They get back together and they're like, well, we're going to use our powers to make humanity better and be their gods. And then so
And they do.
they basically start up a kingdom by themselves. They have 4 daughters. Ozpin tries to take the kids of the divorce. There's I forgive them for doing this 2D fight scene where we didn't really see a whole lot was going on. I actually forgive them for that because it kind of makes sense on the way it's being portrayed, like from if you're standing in like the main cast's shoes, it makes sense how they portrayed it. I think they did a good job. Ozpin gets burninated. The status of the 4 daughters of Ozpin and Salem are unknown.
Yeah.
And
I'm assuming dead because he's in mourning.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Maybe.
And then after that, it goes to basically he's reincarnating over and over again. He finds the relic of knowledge, asks Jin a question, and Jin basically says, "You cannot destroy Salem."
Yeah.
So that begs the question: Is
it just him that can't kill her? Or
can Ozpin not kill Salem, or can other people
nobody
kill
kill
Salem, or can nobody kill him?
I'm gonna say that no one can, because like not only because like he's tried before and she didn't have that inflection of like if she was trying and say like you can't, then you can't, like there was no inflection there.
Well, I'm of the opinion that it's like it's not that she can't be killed, it's that Ozpin can't bring himself to kill her.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's already tried killing herself.
Well, no, as in Ozpin himself. But that's like we're arguing, semantics of line delivery here.
Yeah.
And then that's basically how the episode ends after that point. And then that's pretty much it. It's
because you've got the looks of like the main cast in the background, from like oh, we're on a pointless mission at this point from what they're hearing.
Kind of, yeah.
But that's basically it. So now I'm gonna hand it off to media, and I'm gonna pour myself some more milk.
Do it.
Am I coming in clear? First of all,
yes.
Because my internet's kind of going like.
You're sounding good to me.
I can boil I can boil down all the good stuff into one word and all the bad stuff in this episode into one word, because there's a lot wrong with this episode. But the good stuff, Salem. They did a really good job portraying Salem, showing motivation, showing where she came from, showing why she's doing what she's doing. It's such a good villain origin story. I wouldn't say it's like particularly great. Like I've seen way better villain origin stories, but compared to like the little bit we got from Cinder in Volume 3, or what we got from Adam in his character short, this is on a whole. This is competent. This is a competently written origin story for Salem.
It reminds me a lot of Dracula from the Netflix Castlevania series, and also a little bit of like Father from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
I always kind of got Father vibes. I always got just Full Metal Alchemist vibes in general from the villains.
There are so many Full Metal Alchemist characters in this show.
Yeah, and there's so many Full Metal Alchemist voice actors. Aaron Dismy, Vic Mignogna. The voice of Kira was the voice of Father. I'm calling Clickenbeard spending freaking everything though.
That's true.
Yeah. So
I mean, they had Travis Willingham for a while.
Yeah.
For one episode.
Well, no, that was because him and what's her name, the one who voices Lust in Full Metal Alchemist. They're married. I know they're married.
Yeah, I know. Shoot, I should know this. But yeah, she was Amber.
She was Amber, and they recorded their lines on the same day because they were there for something else. They were there for something else special that they were doing alongside Rooster Teeth, and they were just like, "Hey, we got these."
Well,
like,
I mean, he
2
also
lines
voices Cameron Campbell in Camp. So
yeah, that's more impressive. That's more like him actually working with Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
And that came later.
Yeah.
But anyway, the bad in this episode, Ozpin. Was a disappointment. I wrote up kind of my response because someone if you're new to my channel, okay, so the episode comes out on Saturday mornings for us. I'm in the same, me, Sock, and High Powered are all in the same time zone as Rooster Teeth, so it's 10 a.m. for us when the episode drops. I pretty much watch it right away because I'm up anyway and I don't have anything else to do on Saturday mornings.
Yep.
And on Saturday mornings, I'm also wrapping up the editing for my review for the previous week. So by the time my episode review comes out, I'll have already seen the next episode. So someone commented like, "Oh, episode 3 was even better than episode 2." After I said the last episode was the best and the best in the series, they said that, and I was like, "No, there are some major problems." And this is my response. I didn't officially respond to this in the comment section because I don't want to discuss spoilers in the discussions of in the comment sections of videos that don't
delegate to that
do
episode
with the new episodes. Yeah, because that was last week's episode. So this is what I wrote out on Discord. I wrote this out on Discord. The fact Ozpin, so he asked what was bad in the episode, and I'm going to say the fact Ozpin didn't do shit. Why would he be so scared about being dead from illness for the worst of it? He missed out on Salem's bargaining with the gods. He missed out on her building the army. He missed out on humanity getting wiped out. He missed out on the moon getting exploded. He missed out on Salem getting corrupted. He missed out on the rebirth of humanity. He missed out on the birth of the Faunus and the subjugation thereof. He missed out on all the important stuff in this episode. He was dead. And like why would he hide this? It doesn't do him any favors to hide this. Like we're back to square one from volume 3 really. When we first found out about the Maidens, why hide this? Oh, maybe it's because he had something to do with it. He doesn't want people to reject him or blame him or turn on him, and that because that would just make them easier for Salem to manipulate. No, it's there's no reason for him to hide a lot of this. And some people have argued like, oh, it's because he enabled her during a second lifetime for Ozma 2. And I'm just like,
they still treat that
but
like
Salem kind of lied to him.
And that's still just him being a passive observer again. Like
I will argue
he's such a passive observer in this episode. He doesn't actually contribute much to the plot.
I would definitely argue that to a degree Ozpin was enabling Salem, but I don't think he was enabling her super hard, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
no,
like he's
because he said that he wants to unite humanity under one banner, and Salem was like, all right,
to get to an extreme.
Yeah, well, not even to an extreme. She just substitute because Ozma did not tell her that it was the God of Light that told him to do this. He withheld that information from her, and so when he brought his end goal to her, she was like, okay, let's do this. Let's unite humanity. We'll be the king and we'll be the new gods.
Yeah, like it's not like I was with Salem pretty much this entire episode. It was just like I don't see anything wrong with this. They were fine. You kind of have to feel for her at this point.
Maybe he's a little.
So those are in the broad strokes the thing that is wrong with this episode, and the good thing, Salem. Also, this episode is beautiful.
Very.
That's true. Yeah.
The sound design, the animation, the art, it has this very 2D feel to it. That's why they brought back the 2D stills for a couple shots. I didn't even notice the first time for two reasons. One, because everything looked like it was rendered in that style, and for two, there was actually a 3D effect going over those 2D stills with the Smash Bros laser taking everyone except Kirby out.
Oh god, they do Smash
pretty much,
Bros.
Yeah. But I figured like the memes were gonna start with that shit.
Yeah.
I think they started with last week. I feel like they started with last week. I remember seeing some a while ago.
Yeah. And I will say this, like, I can kind of understand a couple things that maybe Ozpin's a little ashamed of here, like the fact that Salem did all these terrible things basically in his name and stuff like that. Like, I can kind of understand him being a little ashamed of that, even though it's not his fault. Like, someone going and doing something and saying they're doing it for him, that can be a little harsh. And, like, you know, the fact that he did enable Salem for a little while, I can see how he might be ashamed of that. And also just the fact that maybe he doesn't want them to know that they're, you know, fighting a war that they most likely can't win and stuff like that. Like, I can kind of understand him wanting to keep that from them, but yeah, it still doesn't really seem like something he'd be quite this desperate to keep from them. And
I mean,
like they basically start off the episode letting us know, again, you know, back to square one of Ozpin can do no wrong, because they're all like, this Ozma guy wasn't doing it for love or you know, wasn't doing it because he wanted to get laid or anything like that, or money, you know. He was doing it for justice. He was doing it because it was right. But he also fell in love anyway. It's like, oh my gosh. And like, he's even described as infallible, so it's like, yeah, they're back to Ozpin can do no wrong and stuff like that. So that's that's annoying.
I just thought of something too. So I had two other like minor complaints, but I ended up like upon second view, upon like thinking about it a little bit more, they're not actually complaints, and they actually have the same answer. So one of the complaints was like, if Salem is so powerful, why does she need Cinder, Watts, and the others? And the other complaint was, if Ozpin just told everyone, then they could just ignore Salem and not let her get under their skin. He already tried that.
Or he can turn.
He already tried that. And that's when Salem started using other people to do what she wants. That's why she needs Cinder and Watts, because they're her agents sowing the corruption and stuff. And
yeah.
And I mean, innocent until proven guilty. Until, like, if someone is sowing dissent between the nations, you can't just automatically assume it's Salem. You have to actually find that connection there, and sometimes that connection comes too little, too late.
Yeah,
and it's also and all the kingdoms are at war again.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things where, like, I don't know. I can kind of understand that Ozpin wants to I don't know. You do kind of have that question of like, why can't Ozpin like make Cinder the ultimate, you know, like that, unify humanity against this single enemy that is Salem and stuff like that. But again, like you said, you know, she uses agents and stuff like that, people to do her dirty work, so that people can't really tell if it's Salem or not. I mean, like even with like, you know, the White Fang and stuff like that, you know, they originally weren't working for Salem, allegedly. So yeah. So I guess that kind of answers that issue, but yeah, it's, I don't know. This episode, yeah, like, once again, Ozpin is kind of just being painted as infallible and stuff like that, and I don't know.
Well, I like to take it as like he didn't want them to ask the question, because not only is he giving, does it like that, you know, like especially for like Yang, like she's hearing her mother's words in her head. You can't beat Salem.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone else is getting the same message. He doesn't want them to lose hope. Like, that was his main thing. He doesn't want them to lose hope and lose their will to fight or whatever. I mean, it's not really gonna happen, especially because we have RWBY here.
Yeah, I mean, Ozpin's basically been.
He didn't want to relive his fucking, you know, his past. You know, see his kids, you know, again, just getting smushed.
And I mean, the other thing too, I would argue too, is like Ozpin's just like Ozpin for the time being, like basically since like time as we know it in this series, has just been playing the damage control game. Yeah. He's been running around on the ship with a bunch of wood sticks and a hammer, just hammering into those holes being punched into the ship so it doesn't sink.
Yeah. Slapping duct tape on everything.
And I mean, like,
duct tape is everything.
I'm gonna sound very like forgiving on Ozpin. It's like, sure, he's an asshole of a character.
Yeah.
But like he's been doing what what he can, which what he can isn't like It's like what it looks like he's doing is just spinning his tires in the mud. And so, like, who knows? And then
and again, my hope for this volume is that Ozpin's going is still, because I don't know. I guess I'll take the net. We were really hoping that Ozpin was going to turn out to be like a secondary villain and stuff like that, and it looks like that's most likely not happening. But I mean, we do know that,
or that he used to be a villain, because again, like, remember the inciting incident for this flashback? The whole what is Ozpin hiding from us? Like he's scared to let Ruby and them know. He tried bomb rushing Ruby when she asked the question. Like he looks good coming out of this. Why would he hide them? Why not just tell them, like, hey, Salem is an immortal, and she did all of this on her own accord. I was gone for all of this, for all the bad stuff. I came later.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I can kind of understand why you might be ashamed of a bit of it, but yeah, like bum rushing Ruby and stuff like that when she asked the question, that's that feels like an overreaction, definitely.
Yeah. Unless he likes to think has his like subjugation of other nations and acting like a god as a super bad thing.
I think the thing too is like,
well,
I'm curious how that's gonna pan out. Are they just gonna like ignore that fact in the next episode?
I had a thought while I was rewatching the episode, because again, like, let's talk about the end game.
But like the whole thing.
Well, no, we have an end game now.
Yeah,
we have what I wanted in this series.
Nice. Yeah.
We have what I've been asking for 6 volumes.
Yeah.
Salem wants the relics.
The end game, get all the relics together so that the gods will come back and have final judgment over humanity. And if all the kingdoms are together, then it's all good. And if they're not, then the gods are going to destroy everyone again.
For good this time.
Yeah.
And if Salem tries
it's like the whole planet. I think they said like the entire planet will be wiped from existence, not just not just mankind wiped out, like talking the Earth, the core, everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And if Salem tries to eat the gods, Studio Bones is gonna have to sue.
Here we go.
I mean, yeah.
Like I said, lots of Full Metal Alchemist in here.
There's so much Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, that's the end game, and in Ozpin's mind, the only way for him to keep humanity united is to get rid of Salem, which there is no getting rid of Salem. But I had a thought. So we know that the Relic of Knowledge was created by the God of Light. And that the God of Light was hanging around was called the like pools of creation. So I'm thinking he created the knowledge and the creation relic, and then the God of Darkness created the destruction relic.
Destruction and choice.
And the relic
probably.
and the choice relic. Now, flashback to the Great War, World of Remnant. What did the King of Vale have? He had Ozpin's cane, a golden
sword.
The destruction relic, basically, or something?
Destruction and the relic of free choice. He used the tools of the God of Darkness to end the Great War. I'm not sure this flashback is over.
You might be right. You might be right.
Yeah, like there's more.
That's actually.
If they keep going on with this flashback into
like
the next episode,
do you think, or
like we have to get this? We have to get the villains next episode.
Maybe later, maybe in a different volume. Because like, I think right now what Ozpin was hiding was Salem's origins, which the King of Vale not pertinent to. But that might be another skeleton in his closet. The fact that he used these dark like evil relics pretty much in order to end.
I mean, again, we know he's had access to all 4 of them. He built the academies, he built the the vaults where I'm assuming that he built the vaults where the relics have been kept all these years. So, again, we know. And one thing that I like about this is, one thing I appreciate about this is now we know we have that answer to that big question of, Ozpin's had access to all 4 relics, all 4 maidens.
It's like, why hasn't he used all 4 to destroy?
Yeah, why hasn't he killed Salem up until now? The answer is because he can't. She's immortal, and so that's good.
And also having all 4 of those things together will just summon the gods, and you don't want that.
Yeah, and that's probably also it, is that like he refuses to get all 4 relics together because he knows humanity isn't ready to be judged by them, and so that's like all pretty good and stuff like this.
It feels
so,
like
that makes sense.
It feels like lampshading because they're doing a good job addressing the criticisms we had of Ozpin for volumes 3, 4, and 5. But it's adding in new problems because in having this origin be like this, it's not validating what we've seen of Ozpin so far.
Even if the flashback isn't over, like you said, media, it's just like, wasn't the Great War just basically versus a bunch of Grimm?
No, the Great War was between all the kingdoms.
Yeah.
Mantle, Mistral versus Vacuo and Veil.
Yeah, over rightful clay.
I feel like the God of Darkness just gets too much of a bad rep, Like,
well, the God of Darkness,
the God of Darkness, like he likes his destruction, but choices, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
I do like how the gods are portrayed here. That he's, and the God of Darkness, he does seem a little petty, but at the same time, like, I don't know, you can kind of like.
He was probably just lonely because no one visited him.
Yeah, because
he gives off kind of a Hades vibe in that it's like, and like he even has that little rant towards his brother where he's all, you may hog the powers of creation, you may bask in them, but I also have access. You don't own them and stuff like that. And he's also kind of like,
because you're not the one who gave them free will. I am.
Yeah. And he's also kind of like, the rules that we've set for each other have always worked in your favor, and I'm the one that basically got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, he's the guy stuck with the shitty. He's the guy stuck with the shitty job.
And it's like, and it's kind of like, the one time I tried to do something nice, you're over here telling me I can't. What the heck, bro? But yeah, so I like that dynamic. That it's kind of like,
So I want to bring this up is in a vacuum, this episode is really good in a vacuum, but with the context of episode 2,
it would be a little more compelling if Ozpin was more involved.
Yeah, but whatever. Yeah, because Ozpin
just more involved. Don't even have him do bad stuff. Just have him do stuff. Period.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
We also find out he was lying again. Like he lied about how he he's supposed to just fade into non-existence whenever he transfers to a new host. It's just no.
Yeah.
We know he just completely take over.
Yeah, that was a minor complaint I had. So Aaron Dismuke voices Ozma as well. And he uses the same voice, and it's a little weird because it's not a different character. It doesn't feel like a different character like it should. And then you got Shannon McCormick coming in, I believe, as Ozma as Ozma's second coming, which just makes it a little weirder because it feels like, oh, so it's like the cycle. It goes from like Aaron Dismuke to Shannon McCormick to Aaron Dismuke, so on and so forth.
Yeah, maybe should have switched those two or something like that.
So the King of Vale was an Aaron Dismuke, and Ozpin was a Shannon McCormick, and now Oscar is Aaron Dismuke again.
Yeah. But yeah, it does look like, I don't know. I am happy with a couple of things that, like, I don't know. Some of the more subtle things that we learned this episode, like the fact that Ozma, like, I call him Ozma because it does seem like Ozma is the dominant, does become the dominant personality and stuff like that, because we see in that scene where he, looks in the mirror, it's like his second, the person that he kind of took over and stuff like that is the one asking him, what are we doing? And it's Ozma that jumps back and stuff like that. So we know that Ozma's going to be the dominant personality. Oscar's going to fade into the background.
Which is like, it just leads to that whole theory between Team RWBY getting divided again because of this whole situation.
I don't know. And also we now know that there is no way Pierre's coming back, because this entire episode was basically, this is what happens when you try to defy, creation. And the only people who can actually bring people back to life are the gods, and the gods don't do that.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny. I
Under very, very specific circumstances. So.
just want someone to like have like Salem bring Pyrrha's body, just like an edit of Pyrrha's like just Pyrrha laying down towards the God of Light, and God's like, nah, fam, no. Let it go.
No, it's not Pyrrha's body. It's the plushie.
Yeah, it's the plushie. He's like, let her rest.
No.
Stop.
Let her rest. There we go. Yeah.
There's a line, and Secure was actually complaining about this. Line where like he eventually learned to live with his incarnation, to live with the other soul in harmony.
Yeah.
And as we can see, that's not necessarily the case with Oscar and Ozpin.
Yeah.
But I think what it was going for with that was when he first comes back as Ozma the Second.
He just takes over completely and doesn't even
crushes
care.
whoever soul was there.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah, it's
doesn't
kind of
know,
like what
he
Oscar
doesn't know
said.
his
You know,
name or
he
anything.
doesn't even
just
know
knows
who the
Ozma.
guy's name was. He doesn't even know who that poor guy was. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's
jumped
he's
in.
not as domineering. He's a little more careful with how that happened.
Yeah, we see that he like he jumped. It kind of looks like he apparently like jumped into the body of a man who had a family and stuff like that, and was all like, okay, I'm gonna take some time, raise this man's family because I owe that to him. I can't just wander off and do other stuff. I have to take care of this, do this for this guy. So
Yeah. Also, Salem looking good this episode. Looking good even when she first got corrupted, when she took a
Salem's
bath in
yeah.
the Grim Pond. And Oz was totally sucks. Like, yeah, I know. I've been saying this since day one. Oz was totally doing that. Four kids at least from her.
Oh God, I've become Sockspin. No.
Well, oh man,
okay.
there's been
Someone was saying I bring up the kids because someone was saying that they were the four maidens. I don't think so.
No.
I do think.
But the four
that
maidens
they'll-
probably
that they'll,
reminded of him of his daughters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And while we're on the talk of kids, that's not the only person Oz has had kids with. IT department Ozpin, as I will call him,
IT department.
also had kids, and I had a theory. So usually I don't give credence to these kinds of theories. Just saying that, because his kids look like they have silver eyes, but there's a lot of characters who look like they have silver eyes because that's just
That's just the show.
How dumb the some of the art is in this show.
Yeah.
Like there's been times in the earlier volumes, in like volumes 2 and 3, where like random just background characters would have Ruby's eyes, because they just put those into the like random character generator, and so that just happens. So it could be that, but it's not just the eye color; it's the skin color too. What if IT department Ozpin was Maria Calavera's father or grandfather?
Oh.
Yeah, I would buy that.
Or distant
And I mean, she
relative.
doesn't even have to be a silver-eyed warrior for that to happen. We know that Maria knows more than she's letting on. We know she knows something either about the relic or about
Did we
Ozpin,
see her at all in this
or
episode?
about silver.
No,
I think
she doesn't
no,
show
we're
up at
left-
all.
I think we're left to assume that she's there, but they don't show her because she's not really that important to the main plot right now.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
Until they do their big
It's not a
reveal.
big deal or
Until they do
anything.
their big reveal.
Yeah, that's
But she
something
probably
for
does
next
know most of
episode.
this.
But we
Yeah.
know that she knows something else because she purposely went back
Yeah.
to the back of the train when it was
She
getting
definitely
separated.
knows more than she's letting on.
that grandma's
Yeah,
sketch.
So yeah.
Yeah. And
So that's my theory. That is my official theory. She is related to Ozpin.
Meat is about to get rid of his gloves and his sunglasses and go, fuck
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
I was right, fuck you, I was right. Just do his
Yeah,
best razor fist.
I'll
Yeah.
use that razor fist gif again if I end up being
Why not just recreate it?
yeah.
because I do not have enough swivel room in my room for my chair to do.
Oh. Just take your chair outside.
Yeah.
I'd have.
And
Well, no, I can't really. I mean, I guess I could technically do that, but I'd have to carry the chair up some stairs.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the basement, and the entire like basement floor is slanted.
So you would like you would do it. You just like
like right now, I'm scooting my chair in, and then let go of my desk, and I'm rolling backwards now, up to the back of my bed, or the foot of my bed, depending on which way I'm sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about the geography of my room. So the tower. I think we already talked about this last week. The tower at the beginning, it looks like Beacon, maybe Osmond, kind of
a little nostalgic.
Maybe even Salem.
Yeah.
I had another like more kind of Sunny D worthy theory that maybe Salem created this new humanity. Because she was the only one left. The God of Darkness is like, there is no one left. It's just you. You're alone. And then,
or she could have like kickstarted the process a little bit.
And then in the next scene, the next scene is when she throws herself into the pit of darkness.
A sperm bank or something like that.
And no, I'm talking about like.
Oh, that's a horrible thought. Oh, Robert, theory. Why would you say that?
What?
What happened?
Well, it's like, okay, like God destruction wiped out all of humanity, right? But like, what if there's like a sperm bank? Is what Robert is saying. That's how humanity came back.
She raided a sperm bank. What? What? Artificial insemination. It's a thing.
With a fist-shaped applicator.
Anyway.
I feel like Salem would be. I feel like Salem would not have been living in a shack if she like physically gave birth to humanity. But I think maybe she created the faunus. Maybe she created the faunus.
I would.
Think that would be neat.
Maybe. I could definitely see.
I mean,
that.
I kind of like the idea that the.
I guess I'm trying to figure out why she would do that, but yeah.
To try to not be lonely anymore.
Maybe, yeah.
Because that's why she kept on like freaking trying to kill herself, and that's why she jumped in the freaking pit of annihilation. Is to give herself relief, but then it didn't work. So then
it did work. It made things worse.
And then in the next scene, humanity's back and kind of like not prosperous because of the Grim, but there's a lot of people in the next scene. It cuts straight from like her coming out of the pit all pale and red-eyed, and then the God of Light coming to Ozma being like, "Hey, dude, we got to fix this."
Yeah. Yeah, so kind of like I said, kind of the I don't know. Like there was kind of that question of like how much time passed between like those sequences of events where humanity was destroyed, and then she took that dip, and then Ozpin's brought back and stuff like that, and humanity's, got to larger numbers and stuff like that. So yeah. But yeah.
What was next on the list?
And
I muted.
I would like
hold on,
I would like the idea that Salem used some magic to potentially boost, like, to increase the evolutionary process of mankind.
Maybe, yeah.
But who knows? Like,
the
opening line of Volume 1 is man born from dust, so I'm of the opinion that dust was what caused all the bacteria to grow into what we are today.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, so Salem's, we talk about how, Salem might have had something to do with the like restoration of humanity and stuff like that because she didn't want to be alone, although we see like she is still living alone, although it could just be because she's really, really, she's white-skinned and has red eyes and nobody wants to hang out with her. But, yeah.
No one wants to hang out with the albino kid at school.
Aw.
Feels bad, man.
Again, but, I'm looking forward to all the fan art and hopefully fan fiction that comes from the fact that Ozma and Salem were actually married and we're pumping out kids like crazy for a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
4 kids all look around the same age.
she might have had quintuplets. Who knows?
No. They're definitely different ages.
One of them is
They're,
referred to as the older daughter. One of them
Yeah.
is referred to as the youngest daughter. So,
Yeah.
or credited as the oldest daughter and the youngest daughter. So yeah.
But
And so yeah, I guess
this is a weird episode to talk about because, like,
yeah.
I mean, the only real, like, I will say this is, like, I will give Rooster Teeth credit. I think for what they did with this episode, they did a good job. This is probably like, how they did it was probably the best we could have gotten out of them.
Yeah.
I know, like
as a Salem
like,
origin story, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty
because
good.
like my sister, she was absolutely convinced. She was yelling at me that Ozpin was the main villain. And then she watched this episode, and she was pretty much in tears from the freaking like scene between Ozma and Salem. I was like, oh, she's like, one part I'm sad that I'm wrong. The other part I understand now. I was like,
yeah, and that's part, and that is part of it. Is that, like, I don't know, it's kind of a Last Jedi situation that you kind of have to, get away from what you wanted the answers to be and look at what the answers are and say, okay, does this work and stuff like that. And, like, for the most part,
again,
I
don't think the stuff with Ozpin does.
Yeah, I think, like, most of the answers work except for the fact that Ozpin is back to being infallible and, this can do no wrong character. That's the biggest problem.
Here's a hypothetical alternative that I think would be better. Salem is the one who dies early.
And then
Ozpin brings her back through the God of Darkness. But through that, she, like, kind of goes and saying, the God of Darkness is like, hey, if you do this, like, you're not gonna like how this turns out. And then Ozpin does it anyway, and so Salem comes back, and she seems normal, but she's, like, a little not there. And she, like, starts to resent the gods and starts saying some, like, sacrilegious things. And then Ozpin dies. Yeah, and then Ozma dies. But instead of, like, trying to, like, bargain with the gods like he did for her, because maybe she doesn't know that that's what Ozpin did. Maybe she just thought she went into a coma or whatever. She starts actually, like, trying to kill herself, and then which she does in the actual episode too. She tries to kill herself, realizes, I'm immortal. Oh my god, the gods cursed me to never be with my beloved again.
Yeah. And
because, like, he's dead and I can't. And so then and then from there, the same thing. And then from there, beats play out basically the same way. She gathers up the army, tries fighting the gods. They curse her further by destroying humanity. They bring Ozma back to deal with her, so on and so forth. And it's just like,
or like, even if it's just like he trades his life for hers or something like that.
They'll never be happy together again because so much has changed about them and about the world.
Yeah.
And I think that would be more. I think that would be more powerful, and it would validate Ozpin a little bit more if he actually had something to do with Salem's creation instead of just being completely absent from the origin itself.
Like, Ozpin was a backseat pretty much for most of this episode. He is an audience member that is allowed to stand on the stage as the play is going on, and I think that's kind of the problem is because. And we mentioned this before, but yeah, Ozpin is, like, extremely passive throughout the entire thing, and I will argue that, like, his passivity is what, like, is I don't think it's super enabling, but it is enabling to what Salem has done. Yeah. Especially after, like, Humanity 2 was released.
Yeah, and I'm kind of, I don't know, I've still got a little bit of hope that, like, because the important thing is that Ozpin needs to go back into the background. He needs to go back to being a background character. The show needs to stop being Ozpin versus Salem. It needs to be Team RWBY versus Salem. And so And I think there's still hope of that. We've still got, some sort of conflict between Ozpin and Jean coming up. Hopefully that doesn't become hopefully that doesn't just become an opportunity to turn Jean into the bad guy and stuff like that. And so I'm still hoping, and I don't know, maybe it's going to be like they realize, you know what? You've given up. You've, just given up hope. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep trying. And, they just decide, you know what, we're going to do this without you because, clearly your heart's not in it anymore and stuff like that. That could work. And, he doesn't necessarily need to be a secondary villain for that to work. So I don't know. I've still got a little bit of hope, but yeah, Ozpin's part of this episode was just not great. And it kind of felt weird, but I don't know. It was cool to see Salem's. But yeah. We got the answers to a lot of questions that we have been asking for a while. What happened to the moon? Why hasn't Ozpin been able to destroy Salem yet? What is Salem? Where did Salem come from? And stuff like that. Yeah, that's all pretty good. But yeah.
I feel if they use this as a kicking,
Ozpin, he's still a pain in the ass.
If they use this as a kicking off point to pass the torch between Ozpin and the main cast to try to solve the problem, I feel that they've laid the groundwork where they can do that. Because I think we should definitely kind of move into the talking points of let's start here getting into, because this is probably going to be a shorter podcast, but what do we feel that the reaction is going to be from the main four girls? And then if we want to talk about Crow and even Oscar, then we could get into that too also. But what do you feel is the reaction?
Hopefully RWBY is the one that says we don't have to destroy her to stop her.
Yeah. I think Yang's probably going to be pretty ticked off to we talked about this earlier. Raven was talking about how Salem can't be beaten. So I do think that Yang's going to be the one to be kind of going to be pretty upset to find out that they can't kill Salem and stuff like that. But holy crap, we really are fighting a battle that we really are fighting a war we can't win and stuff like that. Blake's someone's probably going to bring up, well, we have to, unify humanity, and Blake's just going to be like, yeah, that's not going to be happening anytime soon and stuff like that, or that's going to be really hard to get done.
I'm actually actually my whole thing is with the whole because there's this whole theory about the side, because someone said something about the poster being very important. So you've got Blake and RWBY on one side, and you've got Yang and Weiss on the other.
I mean, you could
argue.
I'm
pretty sure if RWBY sides with Ozma, then Blake's for humanity to have hope, she has to unite the Faunus with humanity, because Faunus are part of humanity. And then you've got Yang with that hopeless battle, and then Weiss is just the whole puppet master thing with Oz. She's already done with.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be there's just gonna be a split between the but not a physical split. I mean, if it happens,
an ideological split.
Yeah, because the Yang and Weiss are on the side of Oscar, and then the side that Ozpin is facing is Blake and RWBY. So you've got those two opposing ideologies.
Oh, I mean, I would argue too. I could say maybe for example too, the easy short-term solution of this would be to secure the relics to where Salem can't get them. And so that would mean dismantling her power structure. So I would argue that in the short term, Yang and Weiss could come to an agreement on the short-term solution to the problem, which is if we secure the relics, then this isn't a problem anymore. That I could definitely see RWBY and Blake going for the long-term solution. It's okay, well, we should try to unify humanity as it stands. So if Salem does summon the celestial beings, then we'll be fine, thus rendering her plans moot. So that's kind of how I'm seeing this sort of argument develop. I think like the super short term is like I would expect probably Weiss and Yang to be the most angry. Ruby's probably gonna have to like sit there and think amongst herself like what actually is she gonna decide to do. And then Blake is probably just gonna give her opinions on like what to do. I honestly don't know, but the other thing too.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and well, the other thing too is like if the flashback continues for into the next episode, like we get a little bit more, then who knows? Like there might be a little bit more information being dropped on us, which could possibly happen. Like there could be like the next episode could open up with a stinger, for all we know, from like the last little bit of knowledge. And then it's like the same thing too. Also, like like I don't know if you've played Civilization. But there's multiple win conditions in Civilization. So like what win condition do they want to choose? Like you don't have to kill Salem to defeat her. You could just render her like to where
lock her up.
Yeah. Put like banish her to the Shadow Realm. Make it to where like like she just can't like finish her plans. So
yeah.
I feel that that's whatever they'll have to sit down and they're all going to be like, okay, well, once we get back to Civilization, we can actually sit down and talk about this. Like, we got to figure this out.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, it does kind of like, just from the opening and stuff like that, I'm kind of thinking that maybe Crow's like, I don't know, going to realize that he's pretty much devoted his entire life to a battle that, you know, for all intents and purposes, he can't win and might just start drinking even more.
Yeah, well,
well, and then especially too, like if he knows like that with Summer's death, it's like it's just gonna push him further into alcoholism, which I am all too familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. Like you know, my teammate died because my teammate died for a war that she couldn't win and stuff like that. And
my teammate died. My sister ran away in fear.
Yeah,
everyone's just broken up.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I'm betting it's probably going to be a pretty big like crisis of faith for Crow and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
And like,
I do like the long term and short term goals. High power. I do like that. So it's not so much. It's not so much like a split. It's more like, hey, and it also would like, especially like if it continues, this is more of like a RWBY development thing because she has to like work through this. Stuff like
we have to put on our problem-solving hats now and figure this out. Yeah, Crow, I feel will definitely be a crisis of faith. I definitely feel this will give Oscar more grounds to like resist whatever control Ozpin is trying to sway over him.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, there was.
I will say, I don't know. I will say this, I'm a little nervous about the whole immortality theme because that's kind of a hard thing to to work with and stuff like that and to make work. Like there's the
at least it's not like
Dragon Ball Zia Bridge thing where they did the DB Zia Bridge did the Dead Zone thing where a character gets immortality and they're just like, yeah, I kind of walked myself into a corner with that immortality thing pretty much regretted it immediately. It's like, so hopefully it does seem like I don't know, hopefully they handle it well, and it does kind of work with what Salem said at the very beginning of the series, there will be no victory in strength and stuff like that. So yeah,
because you can hit her all you want, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, so hopefully this like works and stuff like that. But yeah, I am interested to see how everyone responds to this one.
But
it does seem like
it will be interesting.
Yeah.
What do y'all think the next episode is going to be like?
The next episode, I would assume.
I don't think the next episode is going to be a flashback.
Who knows? But so we would assume that we're going to get the last bits of the trailer in the next episode, which will be at the Evil Hideout.
Yeah, the Evil Hideout, and then everyone just traveling. I don't think they're going to discuss it right there in the snow, actually.
Oh, no.
Right after this.
They're just going to be...
I think, like, the next time we see them is just going to be all four of them just walking and Oscar trailing behind and stuff like that. Like, I think that's going to be...
They're just mulling it over and shit.
Yeah, just like, okay, so
They're like, so town's that way, right? It's like, yeah, okay.
Okay, let's.
And then they just start hiking, and then it can cut to Cinder, and it can also cut to the bad guys. So there's that. I don't really expect a whole lot. It's gonna be weird.
Now,
I'm curious. I hope that they kind of. I really hope that they kind of push it forward with like RWBY to get them back with Team Junior or whatever. So who knows?
Now I don't know. I was kind of wondering this last week, but I'm kind of wondering now also, like, was Ozpin's question like this era and stuff like that? But yeah.
Yeah, I still love like the thing too where it's like you can't kill like I don't know like that's a whole weird debate that like people will get into like on the forums and on the Reddits and the 4chans and on the Facebooks where it's like you can't kill Salem because I mean like we don't know like because depending
or maybe his question this era was can someone else kill Salem or something, who knows.
No, yeah. I don't think Salem can be destroyed.
Yeah, probably.
She tried. I mean, she threw herself into the magical pit of annihilation and came out stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, stronger and more irritated than before.
She came out pissed.
Oh boy, this is a weird podcast because it's just like this was put on our plate, and
this is what happens. You get this massive lore dump, and you're like, wait. I like this. This answers a lot of questions, but it's just more questions.
So did they say last volume or in volume 4 that it was the relic of choice that was in Beacon?
I don't know.
I think that choice because it's a crown, right? But it's like, I don't know.
Well, I
don't know. I think it's crown. I think it's like some like mind control thing. I don't know.
Let me see here.
Or it can impose the will. It can impose its will on some other people.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, do the other relics have this,
if so,
3 use every 3 time only thing?
But I don't know about that. But no, I was saying that that just theorizing where the other relics are. Now we know the Mistral emblem is actually supposed to be a shield. That's what that is. But it does kind of look like the lamp, and it does have the same color scheme as the lamp, with the blue and stuff. Yeah. The Atlas Sigil is a torch, but maybe that could also translate into
a scepter,
or scepter, whatever the relic of creation is. So the relic that's in Atlas is the relic of creation, and so the relic of destruction is the swords. And I'm not even close to being done with this little tangent. I'm actually really liking where my train of thought is going. The swords are in Vacuo. Vacuo Sigil is the orange swords, the 3 blades.
Yep.
So, but not only that, but remember what side of the war Ozpin was on during the Great War? He was on the Veil and Vacuo side. And he had, in that flashback, the crown and the sword.
So you could argue that he used
he did not have... So I'm thinking... During the Great War, he did not have access to the other 2 relics because they were in the possession of the other 2 kingdoms that were aligned together. But then when he made peace, he kind of like, okay, lock them up in these vaults. Lock them up in the vaults.
Yeah, keep them away, keep them apart and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, this is a little weird. It's a little weird.
Man, you know what we need right now in RWBY? We need a fight scene. That's what we need right now.
We do.
It's been 2 episodes.
It's been 2 maybe
next week we'll get that Cinder versus Neo.
We got a little bit of action this episode, but nothing like, nothing like usual. Over the top.
I think next episode will be focused more on the villains. I think we'll have the Salem scene with Emerald and Tyrion, and we'll get more Cinder and stuff.
Salem gets a shiver down her back, and it's like someone asked a question about me.
She starts to sneeze.
Someone has been talking about me a lot.
Plus, you are popular, Cinder. Not on Facebook apparently, but yeah. People don't like Cinder.
Sayla.
I mean, I like Cinder, but you know.
I want to like Cinder. I want her to be a good
like
villain, but
yeah, it's like I see the problems with her.
I like Cinder's design. Like I would totally go to Pound Town on that. Grim arm and all.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Hey, the imperfections are part of what make it great.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, but imagine I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I was about to say, imagine what she could do with that. Imagine what she could do with that arm.
Oh god, just imagine, like, you know, trim that nail real quick. She could probably give one a hell of a prostate massage.
God. I wasn't gonna say it. I did not want to say it.
Well, he did.
You're welcome.
But I was thinking it.
Okay.
Oh god.
Oh
god.
Anyway, are we ready to wrap up? Is that all? Because I'm done with everything I wanted to say.
I'm pretty much done. Like we just got we can't even really theorize what happens next because it's just like, well, we're probably gonna see the bad guys and we'll see the last bits of the trailer.
Yeah.
You guys gonna think we're gonna hit for like 4 good episodes in a row?
Yeah, this was an okay episode.
I'm not even so sure we really got the 3 good. I think this episode was good, but I think this was like average for RWBY. It was the average. It was like I put it with like Painting the Town from Volume 2, maybe Fall from Volume 3, where we got the maiden stuff.
Yeah. I don't know, where are we standing on the Salem as Jean's progenitor? Like,
I mean, it's
I'm still on that. You know this.
I mean, she could. Yeah, I mean, she could have had more kids and stuff like that. We know that just because she's, you know, well, yeah, we know that. Like we see from the kids that she had with Austin and stuff like that, that they don't inherit her red eyes and white skin. Yeah, one of the daughters could have survived or something like that, or she could have had kids with someone else later on or something. Who knows? Like tried to replace Ospen or something, but so
it's not the same.
It's still like had one kid with him and was just like, yeah, no, you're not the same, and then just ditched him or something. So I guess it's still a possibility, but
I mean that's
and some people have pointed out that like the symbol in the tower that she was in did kind of look like the Ark symbol a little bit. It had the whole two crescents, but anyway. So yeah,
it's looking more and more like it. But it's just like, you know, we're like, hey, we called this whole Salem thing from the blonde lady.
Yeah, it could happen.
Who knows? Who knows?
But we don't. Yeah, but we don't know, and so yeah.
When it's revealed, you all know I'm dancing. I'm dancing on all out. I'm just gonna keep those. Just T-post to assert my dominance.
I'll play the "fuck you, I was right" gif.
Just
for everyone.
Yeah. But I think there was something I was thinking about, but yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this volume still ends with Ospen going back into the
he's pretty much this. Yeah. It's weird
even though this episode is kind of once again just made Ospen look infallible and stuff like that.
But I don't.
But yeah, this was an okay episode. It was okay.
The best World of Remnant episode we've ever had.
That's a low bar, though.
Yeah, and it's like and I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, Ozpin still sucks because Ozpin, but the episode itself is okay.
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah. Especially for as my part says.
Now I'm really dreading the next episode because we just got 3 good episodes in a row.
Yeah.
Now again, kind of stretching. We're kind of stretching the definition of good.
2 good episodes, 1 okay episode.
Yeah, we're also kind of stretching the definition of good with the other time that this has happened, which was the end of Volume 3 with Battle of Beacon, Heroes and Monsters, and then Into the Beginning.
Yeah. This was a good episode, except for that one thing. That one thing being Osmond.
It really should have been more about Osmond.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're ready to wrap up. To plug in.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
All right. So if you, so if you like this video and want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe. What were your thoughts on the episode? Also, email us at gmail.com.
Oh, did anyone check the Gmail?
I have not checked it.
Someone check the Gmail right now, because I can't check it.
I will. My internet picks up speed.
I can probably check it on my phone.
Oh, we do have 2 more. Oh no, we only have 1. Oh, it's just a screenshot
of
Professor Ellis emailed us a picture of like someone holding a wife's body pillow.
We appreciate the shitpost.
Yeah, and then someone emailed the Smith Wesson dude emailed us back like, "You're welcome and enjoy" for the essay that he sent us last.
Oh.
Yeah. So also support me on Patreon. I'm the only one here on Patreon. And I'm also the only one. Well, I'm not the only one here with the YouTube channel. Robert also does too.
Nope. I just need to start updating it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have videos out later this week. Assuming that I feel better. I'm trying to script out. Because let me see. Yeah, I think this Tuesday is actually the 2-year anniversary of my channel. And I kind of want I want to do a top 10 list. I want it because it's a Tuesday. I don't want it to be a video that'll take a lot of time because I'm just not going to have time to really work on a video. But I want it to be something big, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet. Okay. You know, a really important top 10 list, like maybe like top 10 video games or top 10 anime. Anyway, that's all.
Yep, and keep checking out my fanfic RWBY 2020. I just got done with the with the dance arc and stuff like that. And I think it turned out pretty good. I think I avoided the whole Cinder jumping around on rooftops thing by just not having her jump around on rooftops. But, I mean, if you can't do it right, just, like, if you can't get it right in animation, maybe you shouldn't even, like, bother with it and stuff like that. So, yeah. That was my main approach. Also, like, I don't know. I was trying to make the whole thing of, like, where the CCT was located thing make sense. So, yeah. It's just Beacon Tower. Anyway, so yeah, check that out. And yeah, that's the main thing for me. So.
Hi, Power.
I'm editing Chapter 8 as we speak. It's an absolute nightmare. And if you want to join the Discord, the link will probably be somewhere in the description box. So
yeah,
you can.
Sometimes I forget to put it in there because it's not there by default. But I'll remember this time.
But please join the Discord so we can shitpost, and you can influence my writing and even media's writing if you have terrible ideas. Acts casually.
Yeah. I'm going into I'm doing a mini story right now, and after that I'll be going into the end of RWBY Beyond. And then after that, I'll be free from the serialized storytelling and be able to do all the just shameless ship fix I desire.
What about the Cinder Falls on Track? What about that one? You ever done that? Have you ever finished a new chapter for that one?
Yeah, that's been finished for a while. That was my mini story in between the last 2 arcs. Before the arc I just finished a week or so ago.
Okay.
Well, it was a pleasure. See you all next week.
Later.
I'm gonna jump back into